Welcome to the Susan Brender Show. It's all about you, featuring shows on health and wellness, the performing arts, politics, and people who inspire you to be your best. And now, here's Susan Brender.
I'm Susan Brender, and this is the Susan Brender Show. Today, I'm interviewing Gail Jhonson, the First Lady of Smooth Jazz. She has a distinction that she's worked a lifetime to achieve, and boy, I know she's doing it. So I want to welcome to the Susan Brender Show, Gail Jhonson.
Hey, how are you, Susan Brender? Thanks for having me.
You know, you are one of the most talented people I know. You bring all of your many talents to bear as a soul-lifting spiritualist, next-generation feminist inspiration, big picture band leader, and Philly Street Corner rhythmist. Now, Gail, I want to know a little bit about your life and the things that got you all motivated to sing, to play an instrument, to do your thing. So tell it to me, girl. I want to hear it.
Well, I grew up in the city of Philadelphia, and you couldn't walk down the street anywhere without hearing a band practicing or somebody on the piano. So I was inspired very young. My dad was a doo-wop singer, and he had a group, and so they used to come to the house, and they'd stand around in a circle, and they'd be doo-wopping, and I'd be hanging onto my dad's pant legs. So my mom, I guess, saw that I had an interest in music, and when I was a toddler, she brought me one of those little toddler pianos, and I vaguely remember that. My sister reminded me of that. She said, "You remember that piano Mommy brought you?" So, I guess I just something in my spirit said, this is you, and so I love to dance and sing along with records and things like that. My mom, she liked to listen to Aretha Franklin and Lena Horne and Ray Charles and artists like that. So I enjoy those records too.
Yeah. Now, of course, those people that you just mentioned are revolutionaries, icons of jazz.
Mm-hmm.
Now, today we have many, many people doing jazz. Now, jazz is not an easy career path to take, is it?
No, it is not. And my mother tried to tell me that, and I was like, are you kidding? I'm going to work harder than anybody else, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go to school, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to – let me tell you, it is no easy task, and it's not for the faint of heart. Even the people that are really, really good, it's difficult. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, Gail, you graduated from Berkeley College of Music in Boston, and that is one of the best colleges for musicians, for composers, for people who just were studying everything that has to do with music. How did you end up there? Because Berkeley is one of the best.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know how I found out about. I think my girlfriend told me about it, and she and I and a buddy, we took a train up to, I told my mom, I said, I found this school and I'm going to go visit. And we took a train up to Boston, 6 hours away. I can't imagine my child telling me she's taking a train anywhere 6 hours away. But my mom let me go, and we found a place to stay, and I didn't have a scholarship, but I did get accepted. And, I just worked, a lot of jobs, and took out loans, and I just wanted to go there. I just wanted to be there. And once I was there and found out about McCoy Tyner and Duke Ellington and, Charlie Bird and all these people, I was like, oh, my God, this, so
yeah.
I just had to do it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, you've auditioned and you've been one of the singers who began touring with top R&B artists such as Jermaine Jackson and Bobby Womack and Howard Hewitt. I want to know what this was like.
Well, Susan, my main instrument is keyboards, piano, organ, synthesizer, and I sing background vocals. And then I soon figured out, hey, you better start trying to sing some lead stuff and see if you can. And I always liked the singing along with records and things like that. So once I got on tour with Jermaine Jackson and got to meet the Jacksons and tour all across, America, that was really, really fantastic. My I didn't do that until after. I had done some light touring and gigging in Philadelphia, but it wasn't until I came out to Los Angeles in '85 that, my career really started to take off, and I worked with Morris Day from the time, the whole Prince camp out of Minneapolis. Mm-hmm. So I got to meet all those guys, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis and Prince, Sheila E., Vanity, so that was, it was really a very exciting time. I said, finally, I'm getting to, really play music and just travel and make money and wear really expensive clothes.
This is an interesting story. A long time ago, I was listening to Terry Gross, who is I like to say my competitor, but that's not true. She's really one of the masters of talk radio. But I remember her interviewing some of the wonderful jazz and many other musicians, and she said to one of the musicians, she said, "Why do you change your name? Why do you look the way you do? You put black face. You do so many things to kind of make an impression." And he said, "Money. Is that what kind of makes you? It creates for you." Also an opportunity. Is it about money or is it about a passion? What is it about?
Yeah, it's certainly about a passion. You can't do this thing for money. You can't live for 20 years, month to month, for just money. It's too heart-wrenching. We do have to put the makeup on because this is a visual, world, but, I do it for the passion. But, I also know that if you want to get money, you have to kind of look like money. You have to create an atmosphere, a vibe, a feeling for yourself so people can remember you. So everybody has to kind of find their niche, and maybe that's what she really meant. She maybe meant that she needed to, get into this whole garb, and then, people will remember her, find her memorable somehow.
Yeah. Now, I'd love to hear a story that really you think was one of the most wonderful things that happened to you. Tell us a little story about Gail Jhonson and her escapades.
Well, I would say one time I was in Japan, and we went to the Hard Rock Cafe in Tokyo, and who was there but Stevie Wonder. Oh. And I went over there and introduced myself and kissed him on the cheek, and I'm telling you, that was just okay. All right, I'm living now.
That's right.
I'm in Tokyo playing jazz, and I get to go to a club and see Stevie Wonder and give him a kiss. Okay.
That's kind of the epitome of having a great experience. Now, here's another thing I want to know. When you are up on stage, how do you respond to the audience that may not really be that interested? Because many of the jazz places I go to, people talk in the back. How does that make you feel?
Well, that is our goal. We want to get to a place where the audience is not just there for the atmosphere, but they're also into what you're doing. And sometimes they may seem like they're not really interested in what you're doing, but if they weren't, they would leave. So I don't let that bother me so much. As long as they're there and they're enjoying themselves, somewhere, I'm going to hit a note that's going to say, hey, I'm going to ring a bell somewhere. So I don't worry about that so much.
Mm-hmm. Now, you're talking about the fact that you just accept what is your reality, and your reality is, of course, to be the best musician you can be. Now, do you have any other inspirations? Has there anybody who has told you you can even do better?
Yeah. In fact, I'm looking to go back to school to get my master's degree. That's something I always wanted to do, but it seemed so unattainable before. So that's something I'm doing, and I just started a new project with another radio station, as a matter of fact. So I'm looking forward to that. I like, I like talking about the music and listening to music and, just looking at it from another perspective. So I'm working with another radio station, and it's called smoothmixes9to5.com, and I'm having fun with that. I used to be a DJ for Solar Radio out of London, and I had a gospel radio show there for a couple of years, and you know what? I found it quite healing. It was a lot of work, but I'm telling you, it was very healing for me. That's all I can say. I enjoyed it so much. Once I got into it and everything, I really felt the impact. If I didn't do it, I felt, like, I kind of like skipped church,
Now, you just mentioned the word education. Now, you've been a teacher part of your life, and it sounds like you think education is quite important. So tell us why. I mean, it makes sense, needless to say, but why do you feel that way?
I just got finished being a music director for a stage play for the Common Ground Theater in San Diego for the Wiz. We did the Wiz. Those kids were awesome, the singers, the dancers, and all that. But the musicians, I had a hard time finding musicians that could read music. I needed musicians that could feel the vibe of the music and deliver that. But I also needed people that could bring the orchestral element back from the score. So I found that, some of the young musicians, they can really play well, but you can't use them in some situations because they can't read music. And I think it's still a viable tool for many, many situations because it cuts down on a lot of time. And, not every single note is heard when on a recording. But sometimes, you'll miss something if you don't have both hand in hand. So I like to work both hand in hand, and I just think students really need to make sure that they know how to read and they can get into situations where, okay, you got a 2-hour session to do say a TV pilot. And people don't have time for you to sit and email you this and all that. Here, when you come in, there's the music, and look it over, and let's go,
Right.
So I think that's important, and just education overall, just and just the right education, not just education from one point of view. When I was coming up, I learned about Beethoven and Mozart, and that was very wonderful. I loved the operas and all that kind of stuff, but I didn't know anything about Duke Ellington. I didn't know anything about Count Basie, and so I'm looking for a very balanced approach to hands-on music, listening. I used to test my kids in the car. What instrument is that playing? What is that? Is that a saxophone or oboe? So I'm disheartened that a lot of the music programs have been taken out of the schools, and some of the charter schools are trying to get it together, but it's like it's only a small piece of the pie. Give these kids something. Music is healing, and it's not just for people that are listening, and you got to come up with something great for people to enjoy. Just the process of doing it, getting our instruments together and going to rehearsal and talking along the way and getting something to eat afterwards. All of that is important, and, it kept us happy.
Right.
We didn't have to sit around and say what we didn't have or wish we had this or, I just think it's just so important. And so, so now that's my new thing. I want to get a master's degree, and I want to meet some new students along the way. I'm writing for film and TV now, and, of course, some more stage play stuff. So I'm really interested in broadening my horizons.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned that you played in Japan, and I'm sure some other countries around the world. Now, was it a different kind of audience, and did they respond to you in different ways?
Oh, absolutely. In Japan, it's very academic. They're sitting there like they're in class taking notes. They're watching every single note. What scale did you play? Why'd you go fast? Why'd you go slow? What makes you feel this? Why'd you do that? How many songs did you do? What was the name of that song? Why'd you name it that?
But do they have soul? I mean, because the Japanese...
Yeah, some of them do.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, some of them do, especially the guitar players. I find the guitar and bass players, they have soul. The keyboard players, they're pretty academic. They can play, very fast and very technical and things like that. And, in fact, I'm going to Japan with Norman Brown on Thursday. We're going to go there and play the Blue Note and I think, the Cotton Club. So, they love their music, and they love all their artists. I was there some years ago with Bobby Womack. And they knew all the words to songs that we, the band, didn't even know.
No kidding. And even if they didn't speak English, huh?
And they don't even speak English. They were singing along with him songs that we didn't even know. He just played the guitar and sat on a stool and sang, and it was beautiful.
Wow. Now, if you had a choice of another place to play your music, which country would it be, or which town in the U.S. would it be?
Ooh, I really want to go to Egypt. I really want to sail down the Nile and do like the Nile Jazz Festival. That would be like so grand for me. As far as the United States, I love Utah. It's so beautiful there.
Yes.
I can't say that I know that they even do jazz, but that would be a wonderful place, you know, a little jazz and hang out in one of those chalets and play in the snow for a little while and then come back and play some more jazz.
Oh, that's great. Now, what do you do for another hobby? Because playing music is of course your career, and you play often, and you probably have to just practice a lot. But does Gail Jhonson have something else that she does that makes her feel very, very happy?
Yeah, I love art. I love Photoshop. I love any kind of digital designing kind of stuff. Yeah, I used to draw and paint and all that stuff in high school, but yeah, I love that kind of work, you know, media design. I'm very much into that, you know, any kind of digital media, multimedia stuff, you know.
Now, Gail, let me ask you this. The computer has changed the way music is taught, and it's changed music in general because people can download anything they want on the computer. Now, that's a disadvantage for people who make CDs and want to sell their CDs. What's your opinion about that?
Yeah, that's been very, very difficult for us. On one side, the computer has allowed us to be able to create music way more freely than we were able to do it before. But now, because we're able to do that, other people are able to access that same kind of freedom. We're going to hear anything they want at any given moment. They can go back and listen to an old, old recording of a New Orleans jazz band somewhere, you know. And so it's kind of a give and take. And a lot of people are, well, give the music away free. The money is in the performance. So, people can listen to stuff, but at the end of the day, they still want to come and see you play. They want to dance. They want to hear it. They want to sing along. And so I'm looking just forward to more ways of delivering the music live.
Right. So delivering the music live. Now, tell our audience about what does it mean to you to do it live as opposed to just record it? Because doing music live must give you a great feeling when you look at the audience and they're responding very happily to you. I mean, I'm sure that you love that, don't you?
It's a joy unspeakable. Those 45 minutes to 90 minutes makes all the traveling, all the recording, all the putting the makeup on, all the not enough sleep, all the practicing worth every second of it. And we live our whole 24 hours just to get that, get that little bit of happiness. Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Now, many years ago, the musicians were known to kind of take a few drugs. And we've seen stories about some of the most famous musicians who unfortunately died from drugs. Now, is that changed or is it still the same? Is it something about being a musician or a singer or whatever we're talking about? I mean, all kinds of arts. Is there something that makes them want to use drugs?
Well, people don't use drugs to create music. I think that's an illusion. They do it because they're in some space, I think, and they just want to go somewhere else. I don't know. Musicians are very emotional people, and we get, very sad about things that are going on in the world and, life situations and stuff like that. And sometimes people just get caught up in the partying part of it. I thank God I was spared. Thank God I was spared. I didn't have to go down that road. Thank God I was spared. That's all I can say. And I think it's still going on. We still have some young people that are, you know, passing away for overdosing and things. But it's really wonderful to see so many people that don't smoke anymore.
Yeah.
I used to smoke, and now it's to see somebody smoke. It's like, what is wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody in the band smokes. Nobody in the other band. Nobody in anybody's band smokes. And then you see that one that come along, you're like, what are you doing that for?
Yeah, right.
And it was a time when everybody in the band smoked. Always, everybody, so.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's talk a little bit about women in music. Is it a good idea? I mean, you love music and you've been pretty successful, but for women, is it different than for men?
Yeah, I think so. Women, I think a little, they get, I didn't understand with the whole bra burning and women make 75 cents to $1 of a man. I didn't understand all that before until I really started using music as a business with women involved and realized, hey, this cuts across across the board, across every career, that women aren't paid as much as men. So, I think it's a great idea if women really, really want to do it. It's balancing that between family and having to travel and having to leave and all that.
Mm-hmm.
With men, they got a wife, take care of everything. I'll be back. I'll send you the money.
Mm-hmm.
But with women, we kind of, we want to be able to say that, okay, I'll send you the money and kid, I'll be back. But, something pulls on our heart to say, okay, can we just bring our children with us? So
yeah.
When I work with women musicians, they're very sensitive to that. So anytime we can bring the kids to rehearsal and or to the gig, that's always very welcome. And, if it's your passion, it doesn't matter who you are. If you're Layla Hathaway or if you're Esther Godinez, whatever your passion is, you just have to follow it. And if it's music, you got to do it.
Yeah. So we talked about the fact that you play certain instruments, but do you sing with the instrument as well?
Yeah, sometimes like scat along with it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Give us another little taste of that, because that sounds so good. Sassy sang like that. You sound a little bit like Sassy. And
oh, really? Okay. You know what? I love. What is my favorite song of hers? The way oh, can't take that away from me. That's one of my favorite songs of hers. Can't take that away from me.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And that song is a very popular song. Now, today, if you want to impress young people, what would you sing?
I want to impress young people?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, my daughter is an awesome vocalist, and she impresses me by singing something in Portuguese. And it is so beautiful, and it's so rhythmic, and even that Middle Eastern singing. I heard a young lady sing this morning,
mm-hmm.
and she was singing all those half steps and minor thirds, and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Mm-hmm. And before, you hear the no, that kind of thing. You're like, yeah, that's their stuff.
Yeah.
But to hear somebody else take it and embrace it, now it's art.
Yeah,
and I was quite impressed. Yeah. So I think what would impress young people is to listen to other stuff. We grew up with R&B all our lives. Mm-hmm. Listen to something else. Go listen to some Middle Eastern music. Go listen to some Cuban rhythms. Go listen to some African drum beats, something from Cameroon, it's the bass lines,
Mm-hmm.
Get out of your comfort zone and embrace the rest of the world, because there's some very beautiful music out there.
Mm. Well, that's a great way to end the Susan Brender Show. My guest today has been Gail Jhonson, who is a very talented and wonderful person. And if you want to have people listen to your music, where do they find you, and how do they, if they need to get some inspiration from you, how do they get that?
Well, I have my website, www.gail, Gail, Jhonson, JHONSON.com. So I have links to my music there. And people ask me, why do you spell Jhonson that way? Well, my Swedish graphic designer, Lena Ringstad, gave me that name, so I loved it. It just looked beautiful and just was just different. It's been a conversation piece ever since. So,
well, thank you very much, Gail Jhonson, for being on the Susan Brender Show. You are an inspiration to all. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Susan Brender Show.